Every year, as snow blankets the small town of Everwood, an unspoken terror stirs beneath its icy surface. It's a place where Christmas is not celebrated, but feared. A town haunted by a sinister figure cloaked in crimson. They say he comes for those who defy the silence, leaving behind a chilling message carved in snow. This is the story of a vengeful spirit dressed as Santa Claus, and the curse that turned a season of joy into one of despair. In the quaint town of Everwood, nestled amid snow-covered hills, Christmas was once the most anticipated time of the year. Families decorated their homes with twinkling lights, children built snowmen in their front yards, and the aroma of freshly baked cookies filled the air. However, a shadow now looms over this festive season, casting a pall of fear and sorrow. It all began 5 years ago, during the annual Christmas parade. The streets were lined with jubilant spectators, eagerly awaiting Santa's grand arrival. As the float carrying Santa Claus approached the town square, a mechanical failure caused it to lurch forward uncontrollably. In the ensuing chaos, a young child named Emily was tragically struck and killed. The town was engulfed in grief, and the festive spirit was irrevocably shattered. In the wake of the tragedy, the town council convened and made a controversial decision. Christmas celebrations were to be banned indefinitely. No decorations, no carols, no festive gatherings. The intent was to honor Emily's memory and prevent further sorrow, but this decree left a void in the hearts of Everwood's residents. The following year, as December's chill set in, an unsettling event occurred. A local man, known for his disdain of the Christmas ban, vanished without a trace. In his front yard, a snowman appeared overnight, eerily bearing his facial features, a crooked nose, piercing eyes, and a familiar scar above the lip. The town was bewildered and frightened. Whispers of a vengeful spirit began to circulate. Each year thereafter, as the holiday season approached, another resident disappeared. The common thread among them was their desire to rekindle Christmas traditions, defying the town's decree. In each case, a snowman would materialize, mirroring the likeness of the vanished individual. Fear tightened its grip on Everwood, and the once joyful season became a time of dread. Legends of a vengeful spirit dressed as Santa Claus began to take root. It was said that this specter sought retribution for the town's abandonment of Christmas, punishing those who dared to defy the ban. Parents warned their children to stay indoors, and an unspoken curfew fell over the town during the holiday season. Determined to uncover the truth, a group of townsfolk banded together to investigate the disappearances. They pored over old records, interviewed witnesses, and set up night watches. Despite their efforts, the pattern continued. Each year, another person vanished, and another snowman stood sentinel in their yard. One fateful night, as snow fell gently upon the silent streets, the investigators spotted a figure clad in a tattered Santa suit, dragging a lifeless body through the snow. They pursued the apparition to the old town square, where the original tragedy had occurred. Confronting the spirit, they demanded an end to the terror. The ghostly Santa spoke, his voice a hollow echo, condemning the town for forsaking the true spirit of Christmas. Realizing that the banishment of Christmas had only deepened their sorrow, the townspeople vowed to restore the holiday's true meaning: love, compassion, and community. They lifted the ban, and for the first time in years, Everwood was adorned with lights and filled with joyous songs. The disappearances ceased, and the vengeful spirit was never seen again. The town had learned that the essence of Christmas resided not in the festivities, but in the unity and warmth shared among its people. Everwood learned the hard way that the spirit of Christmas is not found in decorations or parades, but in the bonds that unite us, even in times of sorrow. The vengeful Santa, once a harbinger of fear, vanished when the town reclaimed the love and compassion it had buried beneath its grief. Now, every twinkling light and every joyful song stands as a reminder that no matter how deep the darkness, the light of humanity can guide us back. But still, on quiet, snowy nights, some claim they see a figure in red watching from the shadows. Waiting. Everwood will never forget. But remember, the story doesn't end here. Some towns have their secrets, and some spirits refuse to rest. As long as the snow falls over Everwood, the question remains, will the past ever truly stay buried, or will Santa's revenge return to claim more souls? After all, there's one rule in this cursed town. Christmas may be gone, but it's never forgotten. Imagine a time when fear ruled over reason, when a whisper could seal your fate, and when the simplest accusation could lead to your death. In the quiet town of Salem, Massachusetts, this nightmare became a reality. 20 people were executed, families were torn apart, and centuries later, the question remains, was it hysteria or something far more sinister? Tonight, we uncover the dark truth behind the Salem Witch Trials, where superstition, paranoia, and perhaps even the supernatural collided in a deadly storm. Even the most ordinary places can hold dark secrets, hidden in the shadowy corners of history. Salem, Massachusetts, a quaint town in New England, has one such secret. It is the site of one of the most terrifying chapters in American history, the Salem Witch Trials of 1692, a time when hysteria gripped the community and superstition claimed the lives of 20 people. What really happened in Salem, and what evil lingers there to this day? Let's delve into this grim tale. In January of 1692, in the home of Reverend Samuel Parris, strange events began to unfold. His young daughter Betty and niece Abigail started behaving in ways no one could explain. They screamed, convulsed, and spoke in tongues. The Puritan villagers, deeply religious and fearful of the supernatural, saw the devil's work at hand. Under pressure from the adults, the girls began naming names. Tituba, the Parris family's enslaved woman, was one of the first accused. Under duress, Tituba confessed to practicing witchcraft, claiming the devil had visited Salem. Her confession fanned the flames of paranoia, and soon, others were implicated. The villagers fell deeper into hysteria. Neighbors turned against one another, and accusations spread like wildfire. Anyone who was different, disliked, or simply unfortunate became a target. Even respected members of the community were accused. By the summer of 1692, the trials had become a frenzied spectacle. The accused were brought before a panel of judges. Spectral evidence, testimonies of seeing the accused in ghostly forms, was often enough to convict. Those who confessed to witchcraft were spared execution, but faced imprisonment. Those who denied it were sentenced to death. On Gallows Hill, 20 innocent souls were executed. 19 were hanged, and one, Giles Corey, was pressed to death with heavy stones after refusing to plead. The screams of the condemned and the somber silence of the witnesses painted a grim picture of humanity's capacity for cruelty. By early 1693, the hysteria had subsided, and the trials came to an end. The colony later admitted the trials were a mistake. The accused were exonerated, but it was too late to undo the damage. Salem became synonymous with fear and paranoia. The land itself seemed tainted by the tragedy. Even today, Salem bears the scars of its dark past. Locals speak of restless spirits wandering Gallows Hill and the Parris homestead. Visitors report inexplicable cold spots, whispers in the air, and shadowy figures. The Salem Witch Trials remind us of the terrifying power of fear and what happens when reason is consumed by hysteria. Salem, Massachusetts, a town forever haunted by its own history. Its story serves as a warning. Beware the dangers of paranoia and the darkness that lies within us all. But perhaps the spirits of Salem don't rest, because their story hasn't ended. The Salem Witch Trials may feel like a distant memory, a dark stain on the pages of history. But its lessons reverberate through time. Mass hysteria, fear of the unknown, and the destructive power of prejudice are not confined to Salem, nor the 17th century. They exist in every era, waiting to resurface. As we look back at Salem, we are forced to ask ourselves, if faced with the same fears, would we act differently? Or would the whispers of accusation and the shadow of suspicion consume us once more? Modern historians and scientists have speculated about the cause of the hysteria. One theory suggests ergot poisoning, a fungus that grows on rye bread. This toxin could have caused hallucinations and erratic behavior, feeding the witchcraft accusations. But no conclusive evidence has been found, leaving the true cause a mystery. Not all accused witches perished. Some, like Sarah Cloyce, were released after the trials ended. But freedom came at a cost. They returned to lives marked by loss, shame, and distrust. The survivors carried scars that no apology could ever heal. In 1711, the Massachusetts government made reparations to some of the victims' families, acknowledging the grave injustice. Memorials have since been erected in Salem to honor those who suffered. Yet for many, the pain remains an open wound, a grim reminder of what fear can do. Over the years, paranormal investigators have flocked to Salem, seeking answers to its lingering mysteries. EVP recordings, unexplained cold spots, and sightings of shadowy figures are frequently reported. Is Salem haunted by its tragic past, or is it simply the weight of history playing tricks on the mind? History is never truly buried. It lingers, whispering its tales to those willing to listen. Salem's story is more than history. It's a haunting reflection of humanity's darkest impulses. Beware, for the echoes of the past are never far behind. The Salem Witch Trials were more than a tragedy. They were a warning of how fear can corrupt, how hysteria can spread like fire, and how innocent lives can be consumed by the darkness of human suspicion. But what if the story isn't over? What if the spirits of those wrongfully accused still walk the streets of Salem, seeking justice or revenge? Perhaps the real horror is not in what happened then, but in what lingers, waiting. In the shadows of Salem today, will you dare to find out? Salem is a place where history and legend blur, where every shadow tells a story and every step feels watched. The echoes of the trials are not just confined to old documents or memorials. They live in the whispers of the wind, the creak of an old floorboard, and the chill that runs down your spine. So as you turn off the lights tonight, ask yourself, are the horrors of Salem truly in the past? Or are they still waiting, somewhere in the dark, for you? The Salem Witch Trials left behind a legacy of fear, tragedy, and unanswered questions. But what if those questions are more than just history? What if the spirits of the wronged still wander, searching for justice or for vengeance? Salem may seem like any other town, until you feel the cold breath of the past on your neck, hear a faint whisper in the night, and realize some stories refuse to die. The question is, would you dare to listen?